Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberker. Following the 2011 Arab Spring, Turkey found itself at odds with several Arab governments across North Africa and the Gulf. Tensions brewed, diplomatic relations were cut, and a decade of mistrust ensued. Ankara competed with countries like Egypt, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. But starting in 2022, Turkey and several Arab governments began a reconciliation process. And this week saw that latest step, with Turkey's foreign minister attending an Arab League summit. Turkey's top diplomat Hakan Fidan attended a meeting of the Arab League's Council of Foreign Ministers in Cairo. His visit marked Turkey's first participation in 13 years. The ministers tackled key topics such as Turkish-Arab relations, regional issues, and the war on Gaza. During his speech, Fidan emphasized the need to work together for regional stability and security. Though Turkey has mended ties with the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt in recent years, Ankara is still at odds with Damascus, which rejoined the Arab League last year. And for more on the Arab League summit, joining me now from Ankara is Gülru Gezer, a former Turkish diplomat, and from Istanbul, Zuhal Mert Uzuner, a professor at Marmara University and director of the Marmara University Research Center for International Relations. Ladies, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Zuhal, Turkish foreign minister has attended an Arab League summit for the first time over a decade. So how important was his visit in signaling Turkey's relations with the Arab world?
First of all, this visit is very critical, especially after the visit of President Sisi to Ankara. It was a good step for better relations with Egypt, and I'm sure it will follow much more cooperation between two countries. But it was also important for the regional issues. For example, the Gaza issue. We are always talking about how worsening this issue in the region and how it creates a kind of negative impact for the rest of the region. And Turkey is trying to find create different platforms for helping Gazan people. So the regional initiatives are a very important key pillar for this initiatives.
We will be getting on Gaza, but Gülru, what kind of a role do you think did Sisi play? Sisi's visit actually to Turkey last week play in Fidan's participation at an Arab League summit?
Our relations with the Arab League, trying to mend the ties, and the normalization process with Egypt went hand in hand. Because when we look at the processes, we see that when we started the normalization process with Egypt, at the same time, our dialogue started with the Arab League. And I think that President Sisi's visit opened a new channel for us to re-establish our relations with the Arab League, and it enabled Foreign Minister Fidan to attend this meeting at a very important time and express Turkey's view with regards to the crisis now that is going on in the Middle East.
So Zuhal, what can you tell us about the shape of Turkish-Arab relations right now? I mean, how is Ankara balancing its relations with some of these nations after a decade of animosity and mistrust?
Actually, there are so many different issues between different Arab countries, but one of the most important maybe in the last years has been Syria. And this platform, the Arab League, is considered by many researchers as an important platform for bringing sides together, at least to start negotiations and find a common ground. It is very obvious that the regional initiatives need much more, let's say, the platforms to bring sides together, and Arab League is one of the most important one of them. From that perspective, the Arab League and the relations of Turkey with the Arab countries can be the important for the future the discussions and the cooperation, especially about regional conflicts. Turkey's foreign policy in the last years depends on mostly about the regional cooperations and regional solutions for the regional problems. From that perspective, the relationship with different Arab countries and in general in Arab League is critical. We have so many different problems actually. By starting from Egypt, we started to find different platforms to overcome these issues.
Yes.
And I'm sure it will create positive impact on the Turkish-Syrian relations.
So, Gudru, what is the reason behind Arab states' interest in Turkey's reconciliation efforts with regional countries? What has changed?
Well, I think the region has changed significantly. And I agree with Zuhal when she emphasized regional ownership. I mean, if there is no regional ownership, it's really difficult to solve the main problems of our region, because then third countries that are not a part of the region interfere in intra-regional relations and affairs, and that only complicates the situation. That's why I think that now countries in the region more and more understand that they have to put their differences aside and cooperate and collaborate on matters that affect all of our security.
So, Turkish Foreign Minister Zuhal Fidan called on leaders to unite against Israel in the face of its relentless attacks on Gaza. So, moving on, I mean, how do you think this will play out? Is there a political will on the Arab side?
This is the most difficult question to answer, I think. It seems like they are much ready to cooperate more about this issue. But on the other side, still there are many hesitations. It is very clear when we look at the very careful explanations coming from these actors. But from another aspect, after so high level of this crime in the region, you know, it's a very critical international law crime now. So even the existence of Joseph Borrell in this meeting, he presents that an explanation of Borrell in front of the Rafah border shows that now there's a rape atmosphere, much better maybe to talk about more common initiative to do something about the Gaza situation. Maybe it can't be a very deep resolution of something, but at least a ceasefire and creating a better atmosphere for the civilians can be an achievable objective right now.
So I was going to ask about that, but Gudru, what do you make of EU Foreign Policy Chief Borrell's presence at that summit? I mean, what was he looking at to achieve?
Well, first of all, I'd like to commend his stance from the beginning of this war, because he has been very vocal about Palestinian rights, and he has stood against criticism coming from the EU, and he has been tougher than most of his colleagues within the EU vis-a-vis Israel. So I think that's important. This is not the first time, obviously, that an EU foreign policy chief is attending an Arab League meeting. They have institutional ties they've been having that for the past nearly 2 decades, I think starting from 2007. But of course, it comes at a very critical time. And this meeting was fully allocated to the war in Gaza. So he expressed solidarity, but at the same time, he also emphasized that, unfortunately, the EU countries do not have a unified stance. But the mere fact that he attended that meeting, I think, was significant in itself.
But do Arab countries have unified stance?
Great question. No, unfortunately not. I mean, I do want to emphasize one thing. The reason why the Arab League was actually formed in the beginning was, you know, when a non-Muslim tried to, violate the status of Masjid al-Aqsa, the Al-Aqsa Mosque. But when we consider what's happening today with the violation of the status of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and how the Arab League and the Muslim countries in general are reacting, unfortunately, we see that they are shying away from taking concrete measures in a more firm stance towards Israel.
So, Zuhal, Syria regained full membership in the organization last year. What does that mean for the country's reintegration in the region, as well as the post-Arab uprising in the Middle East?
the return of Syria to Arab League as an active member, as an important actor in the region is very critical, I think, because what we observe actually in international relations right now is the absence of this, normally the practically acceptable methods of diplomacy, so coming together and discussing more about the problems instead of denying the existence of these problems and denying the existence of these actors in this problem. So from that perspective, Syria's return and Syria's membership in this platform is really critical for finding some other, let's say, the regional initiatives or regional cooperation, let's say, the efforts. From that perspective, Syria's existence in Arab League may be important, especially within the atmosphere of better relations of Turkey and other actors in the region.
So, Gülru, how will Turkey's further engagement with Arab nations impact efforts to find a common ground with its neighbor Syria? I mean, how do you think normalization efforts are playing out so far?
I think it's very important in the sense that, Syria and its other bordering Arab countries had started an initiative about a year and a half ago with regards to, the fight against terrorism, about, illegal immigration, so on and so forth. But Turkey was missing in the picture. But if you don't have Turkey that has a 911-kilometer border with Syria, I don't think that you can actually achieve results. So Turkey's relations with the countries in the region obviously will have a positive impact within the framework of the normalization process with Syria. And we actually see that, our relations with Iraq have improved significantly over the past year, and the Iraqis have actually proposed to somehow hold, a meeting between the two sides in Baghdad. So we are already seeing the concrete results of this.
So, Zuhal, for the first time in years, the 22-member league didn't criticize Turkey in the summit declaration. How important is this? I mean, because we know that the league used to condemn Turkey's anti-terror operations all the time. Has that changed?
I suppose that it is not a deep change about this understanding of this, the activity, military activity of Turkey in this region. But from another aspect, now there is a very hot issue in the region, and there is need to more concentrate on that issue. From that perspective, you can see the explanations of Turkish foreign ministry representatives participating to the Arab League, and they underline the important issue right now. The focus of this, the visit and this meeting is especially related with the Gaza issue. So from that perspective, I think, yes, maybe we can see the other issues are still at the table, and the sensitivities about this, the trans-border operations and the existence of Turkish military in the region is an important problem. Always they refer in their explanations. But on the other side, they are very aware that there is a serious security concern, a security problem in the region, and also it is a humanitarian crisis. And from that frame, we can say that it is somehow left to a side and focused on more important issues, maybe.
So, Gülru, last question. As a former diplomat, how do you think Turkey will be navigating its relations with these countries?
Well, as the region and the whole world is changing, I think that Turkey has to be within the processes of the negotiations, especially with regards to the Palestinian and Israeli conflict, and the relations between and among the Arab states, because Turkey is, I think, a vital actor in the region. And without the participation of Turkey, we can't really talk about regional peace and stability.
All right, ladies, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.